Hey everybody, my name's Ed. Okay, so we're going to do another quick comic book review. This time it's going to be a Green Lantern Green Arrow crossover. So it's Green Arrow issue 125, Green Lantern 92, and then back to Green Arrow 126. So Chuck Dixon and Dougie Brathwaite do the Green Arrow issues, and Ron Mars and Daryl Banks do the Green Lantern. And it's basically where a couple of legacy heroes, Green Arrow and Green Lantern, try to calm down racial tensions and stop a race riot from happening while uncovering a greater plot. And along the way, they meet different people from different backgrounds and try to come to a deeper understanding of ethnic relations and hopefully a hopeful future. Okay, so basically what happens is you have Connor Hark, who is the then current Green Arrow, and he goes to New York City to visit his mother. And while there, he encounters men shooting up the neighborhood and stoking racial and ethnic animosities. New York, of course, is a highly diverse city, so there's a lot there to exploit. There, Connor runs into then current Green Lantern, Kyle Rayner. They have a discussion about their ethnic backgrounds, and the reader is introduced to the other side of, to other side characters, I should say, of various backgrounds. And meanwhile, there's a couple of political pundits that are stirring up racial hate, and somehow Connor's mom her husband is somehow involved in all this as well. And then there's an old Green Arrow foe who's kind of on the loose there. Okay, so it's kind of reminiscent of the early 70s Green Lantern, Green Arrow comics. This is the run that was done by Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams, and it got a lot of attention for dealing with various social issues at the time, including race and drugs and political corruption and things of that nature. The Green Arrow then was Oliver Queen, and he would be the liberal, and then Green Arrow was Hal Jordan, he was the conservative, and they would argue the issues back and forth. So in the modern story, it's okay, but it's kind of like the older stories in that it kind of oversimplifies the situations. There's the suggestion that racial problems are caused by outside forces rather than long-standing systemic issues. There's a one-dimensional bad guy kind of manipulating everything just because evil. And while I like that it has an optimistic ending, it's maybe a little too easily wrapped up, and the plot twist was a little disappointing. Basically, it had decent art, not spectacular, but it's functional superhero art, and it's stylistic enough to not make it too generic. And it's a pretty straightforward visual storytelling. Having said all that, I did like where several characters do talk about their backgrounds. The heroes even discuss their own ethnic backgrounds. Kyle talks about being raised Scots-Irish. I think later DC retconned him to be part Mexican, but I think that's not in this story. And Connor is part white, Black, and Asian. And he brings it up a couple times. He even says at one point there's no word for what he is. However, seriously, yeah, there is. there's a couple words, that aren't necessarily too nice. But yeah. Oh, another thing I liked is kind of the media satire. Kind of wish they could have included a little bit more of that in there. Okay, so just to wrap it up, it's a decent enough comic. As far as a superhero comic goes, as a discussion of race, it could have had a little bit more complexity, could have been a little bit more nuanced, and I thought the resolution was a little too easy. But like I said, all in all, it's pretty much it's a decent story. Okay, so that's it. I got to thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. You guys have a great day. Thanks.